I actually see that a lot of Latin Americans have low price in iTalki, which I hope that someday that changes. I didn't know how, like I was thinking about this, but I didn't know how to say it because talking about money can be controversial. But I think it would be good, like, to know that our work is valuable and that we as Latin Americans, we don't need to have a lower price because we are from here and our money it's bad, like it's not worth for other countries.
And good. Okay, Sofia, one of the most energetic people I know. I'll give you an introduction from the Sofia I know, and then you could give us an introduction of yourself. So for me, Sofia is she booked a lesson on iTalki one day and told me that she's a teacher on iTalki. She's from Argentina, hence the flag, and she's also a student who drops in on my weekly lessons. So she's actually seen me teach, not just through YouTube, but also through Zoom. And now here we are chatting in this interview. So Sofia, there's so much to say. I'll just let you say it. Who are you for the people watching?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm Ryan's student. That's true. I'm learning a lot from Ryan, not only as an English teacher, but also as a teacher in general. Well, you really inspired me. That's why when I started on iTalki and I started watching your videos, first backs that I had on the platform, I said, okay, let's have a class with Ryan so I can talk to him. I can tell him, thank you for sharing all your information. So I am also a teacher on iTalki, but I am actually a community tutor, which is something I want to say at the beginning of this meeting, because probably I will start calling myself a teacher. But I'm a community tutor, which is something different. It's another adventure, not only for me, but also for my students, because I'm sure I'm learning a lot from them. I'm also, I love traveling. So I've been traveling all what I could during the last years with my boyfriend. I had great experiences in couch surfing. I had great experiences couch surfing around the world, which was awesome. And that is where this kind of started, because in the cultural exchange, I started teaching Spanish without even thinking about it. I started sharing my culture and my native language. And when I realized this could be a job, I was so happy and so enthusiastic. Like you said, I'm very energetic. So most of my energy is going to language and language learning and language teaching. Yeah, that would be a lot. That is a lot. Everyone is tired already from listening to me.
No. This is really exciting for me because people watching this won't be able to empathize. But as I said, the first time I met you was in a one-on-one consultation just like this, except it was you kind of asking me questions and it wasn't recorded, right?
Yes,
but you know, you talking about traveling with your boyfriend and talking about couch surfing, it's like it's all coming back to me now, and I'm remembering all of what you told me in our first meeting. And see, this is one thing, I've spoken with some teachers about this in the interview series about group classes versus one-on-one classes, right? And how I've been teaching you in group classes, and it's really good. I love being able to put people into breakout rooms. I like doing polls and stuff like that. But one of the things you miss is that, you know, one of the things about iTalki that's great is the one-on-one experience and the details and to hear stories. So it's kind of like today I could get to know you again, and hopefully we could all get to know you a bit better as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, yes, actually it's really interesting because every student is different. I thought that was like cliche, but it's true. Like every student is different, and I learn a lot from each student. And well, I'm looking forward to give group lessons one day, because I didn't have that experience with language yet. So Yes, your group lessons are really fun, but it's true.
Oh.
You can get to hear each opinion or experience, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. And we're all, even if you're good at giving group lessons in person, giving them online could be completely different as well, right? And the level could be a factor too.
Yes.
So that's completely true. And as for the cliches, we have a rule in these. I'm going to make a rule in this interview series now. Cliches are absolutely allowed and they are encouraged because I've heard so many cliches.
Yes.
But it's hard because like some cliches are so darn true, and there's no way to say, like I was just talking to a woman named Alessandra, an American teacher, and we were going through like how you learn as you teach and how you need to learn from your students and while you teach them. And it's
Yes.
like it's a cliche, but it's darn true. So
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, I've been listening about like, and I think this describes me like the class center on the student. Like the student is the one that the one who tell us like where to go. Their interests are very important, like to prepare the lesson so that they are interesting and they are engaged and they feel enthusiasm about the lesson. So sometimes, most of the times, like lessons pass fast, and when that's happened, I say like, okay, this was good. Like the students talked a lot, was able to put words on her ideas, and that's great. Like when time flies, something is working, right? Like
for
that's very
sure.
good.
100%. Yeah, like in any job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you spoke about student-centeredness. So I'd like to know, are there any specific things that you do to make your classes more student-centered? Because for example, for me, as you know, in the free classes I do every week, I give students, like students who do their homework, like you, like a good teacher is a good student. Um, I give you the option to choose the topic for the next class, right? So it's been like that is one of the ways I try to make things more student centered. So are there any specific
Yes.
things that you have done on iTalki to make things more student centered?
Yes, well, first thing that comes to my mind is that I like to work asking questions, like talk about most of the topics. I will do it before with questions, which it's very interesting because then you will find out the answer of your student. They will have to, how do you say, like develop the answer, like be able to
Mhm.
make the answer fluently, and they will ask for vocabulary. But I also like to teach them to make questions, which I think it's very important too. And in general, after my lessons, I give feedback, and I talk with the student so that we decide what we do next, like what would be good to do next and which topic would be interesting for them. So I make most of my lessons very personalized, like regarding their goals and interests. Yeah, that
That's
would
great.
be. Yes, and each student has a different goal. Like some of them wants to learn Spanish or English to travel, other want to learn for work, other students need to be more confident. So it depends on the goals, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, like teaching language like Spanish, you must get, well, English as well, right? But especially Spanish, I feel like
Yes.
you could get so many different like goals from your students, right? Because for example, I think like speaking from a Canadian perspective, I could be learning Spanish because I want to teach English in a Spanish speaking country like Colombia or Spain, and I want to
Yes.
improve, or Argentina, and I want to improve my Spanish for immigration purposes. It could even be for just a hobby. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
heritage language. And yes, that does work with English as well, for sure. But a lot of my students on iTalki have actually been learning English for immigration or for work, right? Not many like hobby language learners, right? And not many heritage language learners either, right? So,
Yes.
when we're talking about the different goals of learning a language, I feel like Spanish, you must be like casting a massive net of different
Yes.
kinds of learners.
Yes, it's true. And it was crazy when I started on iTalki. And people would tell me like, oh, Spanish, I love it. It's so beautiful, so romantic, it's so passionate. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know my native language was so cool. Like, I know it's beautiful. I know we have beautiful culture in Latin America. And that is something students are very curious also about, like the culture, dancing. Well, when I introduced myself, I forgot to say, I'm also an artist. I studied theater in the university, but I'm not an actress anymore. But like, I don't like to be on the stage anymore. But I think that uh, taught me a lot of tools that now I use in my lessons, because this enthusiasm and laughing about mistakes together, like I think it's something artistic. And well, I also love to dance. That's why I remember about this art side of me. And I was also a businesswoman for many years. And that is something important also related to why I jumped into iTalki. That it's a challenge to manage your own work and be freelance, right? It's freelance.
Yeah,
Okay.
freelance.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That it all makes sense now. You have a history in the theater. Like I could totally see that, right? And one of the key themes that I've been going over with interviewees this week has also been how your own hobbies, your or maybe your professional knowledge, maybe what you studied in university, how that impacts the way you
Mm-hmm.
teach, right? And the
Yes.
fact that you have a background not only in business but also your background as a traveler is really like it could really be useful, and your background as an actress could really be useful, and an artistic person. So let's start off with a business, because at least that way we could kind of put the scope on a like a domain, like a field. Could you
Yes.
explain to us how you made this transition from business to teaching and how it has influenced the way you teach?
Yes, of course. Well, actually, I realized not so long ago that I'm like another cliche, maybe, but like a natural teacher. Like, you know, some people say, like, if you don't like teaching, then you will never like it, or you will never be able to do it, or something like that. So I didn't realize when I was in the business, it was a family business of fire security. I was leading a team of 40 people. And as I worked in a family business, it was very important for me to be involved in everything, because in Argentina, having a business is very hard. You need to do a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I was giving a lot of capacitation, a lot of training in the business, and I really enjoyed it. And I didn't know that was something like, that was a good tool. Like, I didn't know that because I was in my family business. So that was natural for me to give my best. And well, during the pandemic, that was my 8th year in the company, 8th year. So it was a long time in the company. And I realized I wanted to try something new. I wanted to learn new things and to try myself outside of my family business. And so I started working at the government in a ministry here in Argentina with a lot of friends that were working there. So it was a really amazing experience. But then things got a little bit different because there were some changes in the government, and the atmosphere was not the one I was having with my friends. It was kind of more difficult. So I started doing a research about working at home, because I really liked home office and I wanted to be able to travel abroad and take my work with me. So I started doing research, and when I found iTalki, where I could be a teacher but being a community tutor, I realized this was possible. Like, I wanted to try this. And I started working part-time on iTalki while I was still working for the government. So I was working a lot of hours per week because I had a lot of work in the government and a lot of work in my new passion. So after my trip to Patagonia this year on January, I decided to quit the government and work as a full-time iTalki teacher. And it's been an amazing experience. I'm very happy for my decision. It took a lot of work, and I'm very like enthusiastic, and I have a lot of ideas, and I can't do everything. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the best iTalki tutor of Spanish. No, I really give my
Yeah.
best in everything I do. So yes, I want to improve every day.
Yeah, and if you have like so many different things that you want to do at the same time, sometimes it comes down to the thing that you're getting the most positive like feedback or positive reinforcement for. So you may gravitate towards the thing that you notice is attracting the most like positivity or the most like feedback. And like for me, even if we talk about my YouTube
Yes.
channel 2.5 years ago, it was supposed to be a travel channel. Like it was supposed to be like it was called Ryan Keeps Smiling, and it was
Yes.
literally supposed to be just for like it was supposed to be like traveling and teaching at the same time. And then it
Oh,
became more
wow.
like more about teaching. And then it like I noticed the only people who were watching my videos were iTalki teachers. So I was like, okay, I'll make this about iTalki, and now here we are, right? So if you want to do everything at the same time, sometimes it could come down to what you get the most positive feedback for. But at the same time, there could be some things that you're not getting positive feedback for at the beginning, but you shouldn't give up on those things because they will take time, and after some time it might be worth it in the long run. So it's good to kind of have a balance and step back and take a look at the bigger picture. And I think changing careers is one of the best ways of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, right? Like
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're not the only person I've spoken to this week who has changed their career. So that's really inspirational.
Yes, yes, I'm really happy with my decision, and I think the pandemic had that effect in a lot of people, like to change their job, to do what they wanted to do, but they were how do you say when you put it for the future, postergating.
Oh yeah. Oh, procrastinating. They were putting
So
it off. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so for me it was a really good opportunity to start teaching. And yes, I was thinking about this. I have a lot of students with different levels and with different goals. So that's why I'm always like doing research on different stuff. And yes, I'm very curious. So that's why this change was perfect for me, because I'm learning while I prepare my material, I do research, and yes, it's a very nice job. I love to teach Spanish. It's really great.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
Sophia. And you said like when your classes pass fast, it like you're doing the right thing, you're having fun. And that's happening with this interview right now. It's passing so fast. I want to touch on every topic I want that we plan to. So
Let's
another
go.
thing I'd like to talk about are the languages that you teach. So you teach Spanish and English. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but mostly Spanish. Like I have a lot of students in Spanish, but in English, I have a few. It's quite new for me to teach English on iTalki as I'm not a native speaker. But I don't know if I interrupt your question. Sorry.
No, oh, no, no, no. You didn't interrupt, so that's good. So I
Yes.
wanted to ask you questions based on your Spanish teaching experience,
Yes.
and particularly as an Argentinian, and also your English speaking experience. And we'll talk about native speakerism a little bit too. So
Yes.
first of all, with the Spanish teaching experience, I know that Argentinian Spanish, they have their own very unique like way of speaking Spanish. And I wonder if you
Claro.
could, yeah, I wonder if you could,
Claro.
claro,
Sure, sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Claro. Yeah, and I've heard this from other Argentinian people as well. So I wanted to know, are there any have you ever run into any difficulties while teaching people Spanish, based on the fact that you are an Argentinian teacher, or has it actually helped you in certain regards?
Well, it helped me in a way because many students are actually interested on learning Argentinian accent. So, or to train their listening comprehension with Argentinian accent. So that is a positive thing. And again, I was like, oh, my language, they are interested. So, of course. And then for the accents, well, there are some differences between how each country use words. Like sometimes in Argentina we call colectivo to the bus, we call it colectivo, but in other countries they call it autobús. So it changes.
Mm,
Like words have different meanings in different Hispano-hablantes countries. So,
yes.
so that is a challenge. I actually have to do research many times, like to get to know those differences and be able to explain them. And then I will ask at the in the students trial lesson or first lesson, I will ask them if they are interested on learning Argentinian accent, or they want me to talk a more neutral Spanish, which I can do because as an actress I had some neutral Spanish lessons, because there is this Spanish that is invented for media, so it's more neutral. And I can speak that neutral Spanish in my lessons if my students want to have a more wide accent, like more Latin American in general and not Argentinian.
Oh my gosh,
Okay, is that
there is
clear?
so much,
So
so
much
much to unpack
information.
here. Because no, because this is really good because so far in this interview series, I've spoken to a lot of people teaching English and asked them how they navigate incorporating or at least learning about different varieties of English. So
Yes.
particularly I've asked some American interviewees how they learned British English and vice versa, and if this has ever been a difficulty for them. So you are coming from like the Spanish speaking world, and I mean there are so many different countries and different kind of accents that we're dealing with, and I'm sure even the, well, maybe you could answer this question, the idea of native speakerism with Spanish. Is there any kind of underlying hierarchy with which dialects or accents of Spanish are more privileged than others?
Oh, wow. But in which way? Because for example, let me see if I understood the question. But for example, in Colombia, the Spanish is more clear because they are more they separate more the words in their pronunciation, in their accent, so it's more comprehensible, okay, when you
Okay.
hear it. But I don't know, like, do you want to let me know, like, specifically what do you mean
Yeah,
with that?
sure. So, for
Like
example, a lot of
hierarchy.
people, you know, some people come to me because I'm a native speaker and they
Yes.
want Canadian English, right? And people, unfortunately, like people who are from other outer circle English speaking countries, such as India, may like they may face certain challenges that certain Canadian teachers don't, right? Or maybe
Okay.
not. Honestly, this interview series has been mind blowing because a lot of people who I've spoken to about native speakerism haven't really raised the concerns about it that I have seen in the literature and in research, which is very interesting as well, right? So maybe there's a gap
Mhm.
between what we expect to be challenges and what are real challenges, right? So I want to
Yes.
know from your perspective, is there like a lot of your students, do they specifically want to learn Mexican variety of Spanish, or like the Castilian variety of Spanish or something like that?
Oh, well, no, I haven't, like, specific accents, they will ask for Argentinian accent. If not, they will like me to speak like in a neutral Spanish. So I won't use el vos that we have in Argentina. We use like the person vos and not tú, that is the other one for you in Latin America. So, and also the pronunciation, like the rain in Argentina is lluvia, like that.
Mhm.
And in other parts of Latin America, it's lluvia or lluvia. You know?
Yeah.
So,
So does this exist with all the time you have two L's together? Is it sh instead of whoa?
yes, yes.
Oh
Like,
God.
and also with the Y, like show, like me, is show or yo or yeah, like show or
Yeah.
yo. Okay, there is like yo or
Wow.
yo or yo, like that. So in Argentina we do like show, lluvia, la playa, la
Wow.
playa.
Okay.
Yes,
So is
yes.
mi llamo would be mi llamo?
Me llamo.
Mi
Me
llamo.
llamo,
Oh, that
me
is
llamo
amazing.
Sofía, me llamo
That
Sofía, me gusta la playa.
Wow, that is awesome. But
Yes,
that's kind of a nice that you have these markers that for people who are from Argentinian descent and they want to like capture the knowledge of their ancestors or people who just love Argentina and they want to kind of like that's a very kind of straightforward rule at least even though it could be difficult for comprehension for some other Spanish speakers or Spanish learners it's
yes,
incredibly useful for like I guess it would be kind of like the difference between um American people saying water and having the and then the softer like water from the
water.
British, right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm
Yes,
probably butchering that accent, but
no, yeah.
my dad's from England, so that's okay.
Yeah, I also
Yeah,
exaggerate the sh, but it's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's show, plasha. It's really
yeah.
exaggerated actually. But yes, absolutely. So absolutely. So in some lessons, I will do like first the boss and then the two. Sometimes I'm like
Mm.
two faces, but on purpose because the students wants to hear both. So sometimes I'm ¿Y vos qué querés? ¿Y tú qué quieres? See? So I will
Ah,
switch. So at the end of the day, I don't know which is my
yeah,
accent.
yeah, yeah. Who am I? Yeah,
Who am
exactly.
I?
That's awesome. Yeah, well, sometimes accents are contagious. I mean, some of my students learned in a British atmosphere, and they have such incredible, like, so, like almost, it's almost impossible to even distinguish their accents from like the British accent that like
Mhm.
or the standard or like a British accent that it's really like I'll come out of the lesson with a little British twinge in my own voice, you know, so or
Yes,
a little
yes,
British twang in my own
I
voice.
agree. I came from Mexico like, ¿qué pedo, güey? No mames, toda mexicana. Like, so yes, it's contagious. It's true.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, okay, excellent. So we have spoken about the fact that you are that you've changed professions. Let's talk about English now. Now that you're a non-native speaker teacher,
Yes.
could you tell me about your experience with that and maybe about your views of non-native speakerism in general?
Yes. Well, with this, like I'm always honest because I'm not a native English speaker. So the first thing I do is I tell my students that this time we will spend together will be more for me to help them, to be there for them, to do research together, to take questions out of the lessons to answer later, like in our next lesson. Sometimes I have questions about English that I answer in the next lesson. But what I like to offer with English is as a time to spend with good conversation in a good
Mm.
atmosphere so that they get confident. And it happened to me that I had like a beginner, I have beginner students. That is crazy for me because for me it's very new to explain how to speak English. I was always a student. So I've been having fun. I'm really interested on learning more English and improve my English. That's why I'm taking lessons. So I would say I'm more like a guide also in my Spanish lessons, but especially in my English lessons, I will be like a friend who you can practice with, and you can feel free to make mistakes. And if we have, in general, I think I help in the moment, but if I need to do some research, I will be honest, I will say, I don't know this, let me check, okay, and we continue. And I try to prepare good material so that they continue being enthusiastic with learning English. And I've been having a very good time learning a lot. And I think it works because I see how my students improve. I have a lot of lawyers that want to practice their English with me. So I'm learning a lot about law, which
Oh,
is great.
wow.
So yes,
Amazing.
and I will prepare questions about their works, and we work with questions again. I work with pictures. So yes, it's more new for me than Spanish lessons. So I'm like, it's something new for me. I'm very excited. Yeah, but I
Great.
have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's okay. Like a lot of native English speakers have a lot to learn as well. I mean, honestly,
Yes.
you have a lot of positives that a lot of native English speakers don't have. And it's the very fact that you learned the language, right? So I mean, I don't see like I think at your proficiency level, at the end of the day, a lot of what students want are not just people to teach them English or teach them a
Yes.
language, but to practice a language with them. Like, for example, for me, I want a conversation partner. That's what I want as a student on iTalki. And I know
Yes.
not everybody wants that, but a lot of people do. And the
Absolutely.
difference between having a conversation partner on iTalki versus having a conversation partner just that you find online, like on Reddit or something like that, is the fact that you're paying some money, so this person should show up on time and they should give
Yes.
you all their attention, and maybe they'll give you some homework, and they should be a higher proficiency level than you, of course. But at the end of the day, I think it's about the practice. And for me, I've taken lessons with teachers who are non-native speaker teachers, and they've been just as good as native speaker teachers, and like maybe their pronunciation is a little bit different than the standard French or standard Italian or whatever I'm learning, but
Mhm.
that doesn't matter to me. So as long as you're clear about that, I really don't see I don't see how it how it makes you any worse of a teacher than a native speaker.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I have that focus too when I think about myself as a non-native teacher. I think it's very interesting to build yourself as a teacher of a language. I learned English since I was 3 years old, so it's been a while on this
Gosh.
relationship, but
Yeah.
I'm always learning, and now that's why I started learning Italian to be a beginner in a language and have that experience to empathize more with my students. And yes, it's good too. Like I'm very curious, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Argentina has such a Italian heritage, right? Like such a strong Italian background. So like that could actually be a very interesting and like not like you're trying to teach Italian, but just the fact that you're
Not
learning
yet.
it, that could be very interesting. Yeah, no, not yet. Exactly. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we've spoken about non-native speakerism. As a community tutor, you're the first person from Latin America that I have, who I have interviewed. So maybe you could just tell me a little. Maybe you could just say
Mhm.
if there's anything that you would like to say to other people from Latin America who want to go on iTalki and to teach. Are there any general tips that you would give any of these people?
Oh wow. Well, I'm sure they will have a very good time because sharing, like most of my students want to hear about my culture, and sharing my culture is it's a very good experience. It's very fun and very interesting because you also get to learn from other cultures, and that's like traveling. That's why I also like this job because it feels like traveling. So if you like to travel, this is a very good idea. And if you like to talk with people and you are a people person, yes, it's a great job because you will have fun. You will, like, I like to have the goal to make my students have a good time while we talk. So that is very fun. That the how is keep how is the word, like, to enjoy the ride. I think this is a job where you can enjoy the ride, and that's why I'm very enthusiastic because every time I'm preparing exercises or material, it's very interesting, like to do research, to learn about your native language. I didn't know all the grammar I know now before I started on iTalki. And I'm still learning, as you said, like native speakers, we need to learn a lot about our language too. And what else? Well, in Argentina and in Latin America, the economy is not good. We have a lot of crisis. And that's why working in an international platform can be really good. And well, I actually see that a lot of Latin Americans have low price in iTalki, which I hope that someday that changes. I didn't know how, like I was thinking about this, but I didn't know how to say it because talking about money can be controversial, but I think it would be good, like, to know that our work is valuable and that we as Latin Americans, we don't need to have a lower price because we are from here and our money it's bad, like it's not worth for other countries. So that is like a goal I have, to make community with Argentinians iTalki teachers and Latin American teachers, like to help each other and to be in contact, be in touch. Probably there are some nets going on, but I haven't got there yet. But I would like to talk with all the Latin Americans that are interested. If you want to send me a private message on iTalki with questions or whatever, feel free. I will help. And yes, I totally encourage everyone to jump into iTalki. You don't have anything to lose. Like, it's everything to win. You will have fun. You will learn. And if it doesn't work, well, you can change your job again. I don't know. It's about, yes. There are many possibilities, right? Like,
oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, keep enjoying the ride. Thank you very much, Sofia Gil. If anybody would like to book a lesson with Sofia, her profile links are in the box below. If you have any other social media, Sofia, I'll put that in the box below as well. In terms of setting up a collective for Latin American teachers and for Spanish speaking teachers, I think this is, from my research, this is something that is way that has not made the same headway as English speaker materials have. So unless if I'm wrong and unless if you're wrong, I think there's some work to do, and I'd be happy to use my tiny platform at any point to help kind of bring this on and help to push this forward. So anybody who's interested in this, reach out to Sofia, reach out to me, and we'll make it happen. Okay. Thank you very much, Sofia.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I admire you a lot. I'm learning a lot from you, and I'm very excited about all the things we are sharing. Like, the English lessons are awesome. So I hope this is not the first time we meet in the media.
It won't be the last time, that's for sure. All right. Cheers, Sofia.
Very good.
Thanks.
Bye.